Futbol Americas, live and underway here on ESPN alongside Herculez Gomez. I'm Sebastian Salazar for episode 514. We're both wearing red. I didn't get the memo. But
Did not get the memo. What are you wearing? What was that?
Well, we don't often get to talk USL on the show, and I know eventually we will be talking some USL, so I got my Loudon United.
Ah.
What do you got?
I got a... What's up, Paulo?
Whatever you got, I like it. It's a good-looking kit there for those listening on the podcast. Lots coming up in this edition of the show. Speaking of Brazil, Neymar again left out of the Brazilian squad. We will be talking about that. We will also be talking about a little beef brewing between the coaching staff of the U.S. men's national team and Oliver Glasner, the manager of Crystal Palace. Some interesting back and forth to discuss there. But let's start with the MLS Cup playoffs and none other than Lionel Messi and Inter Miami visiting Nashville over the weekend for Game 2 of their best of 3 first-round series. Remember, Messi and Inter Miami winning Game 1. We'll pick this one up 6 minutes in. Nashville going over the top. Sam Surge first to it, and we're going to the penalty spot. Herc, you got any problems with that?
Well, at first glance, I'm thinking, well, you made a meal out of this one. Then you see the angle right here, that leg. That's a penalty kick.
Rios Novo there off his line, the guilty party. Surge steps up, 1-0 Nashville.
Yeah, it was a good initial ball by Hani Mukhtar. Surge goes around, draws a penalty kick, takes it himself.
How about this pass from Rodrigo de Paul? Luis Suarez rounds the goalie off the post. Inter Miami so close.
Oh, Rodrigo de Paul was playing in this game. It's a very good ball through.
What concert, Herc?
What concert? Luis Suarez off the post and, oh, ever so close.
32nd minute, ever so close. Allende here just misses getting a boot on it. Would have been a beautiful goal that started with a pass.
Hear me out. Hear me out. Lightest of pulls to the jersey.
Allende definitely wanted the pen there. Just before the half, Nashville looking for a second. They get it off the corner. Josh Bauer scuttling it over the line.
My man Bauer hits his hour. He's a center back. He's playing as a fullback in this game. And guess what? He's coming through.
66th minute, Luis Suarez off the chest face of Joe Willis. That was the first shot on target of the match for Inter Miami, Herc.
Allende, keep an eye on Allende, and he should have given the ball to Messi. Look at Messi, he's gonna turn around. Why didn't you give me the ball? Watch this great ball in. Good initial contact right here. Could have given it to Messi, he does not.
All right, well, Messi's gonna do something, right? 89th minute, 2-1.
Well, that's why you give it to Messi. It's exactly. This is an assist to Rodrigo de Paul. He did nothing spectacular. He just gave it to Messi. When in doubt, al 10.
Messi scores, but in the end, not enough. 2-1 the final. Here's Javier Mascherano.
En cuanto a lo de Leo, creo que bueno, en el primer tiempo quizá no lo encontramos a él en situaciones cerca del área, pero encontramos otras situaciones, como la de Tadeo, que bueno, que también es muy dudosa. Y que hay un agarrón, como la jugada de Luis, que va al palo. Es decir, hemos tenido situaciones, no hemos estado finos en el último tercio. Y también hay un mérito del rival, ¿no? Que bueno, que tapó los caminos de alguna u otra manera. Creo que en el segundo tiempo, más allá de que ellos se replegaron bastante más, encontramos algunas situaciones donde quizás no pudimos en el último pase, en el último toque, encontrar un jugador libre, pero bueno, más allá de eso, creo que los jugadores han hecho un esfuerzo grande, no nos ha alcanzado y bueno, ahora a preparar para poder hacer un gran partido el sábado y pasar la eliminatoria. Nada, memoria de pez. Esto es así, memoria de pez. Olvidar lo que pasó hoy, tratar de mejorar lo que tengamos que mejorar, puertas adentro, potenciar lo que hemos hecho bien. Y el sábado nada más lindo que una situación límite, por lo menos para mí que... claro, de eso se trata, para eso seguimos acá. Si no quisiéramos estas situaciones límite, estaríamos en casa tomando mate y mirando el sol.
All right, Herc, so there we have it. A second year in a row that Inter Miami are on the brink of a playoff elimination in the first round against a lower seed. Where do you want to start here? Feels like a big missed opportunity for Messi and co.
A massive opportunity missed for Messi and co. And you just said it, Seb. This isn't a surprise. This isn't coming out of nowhere. They saw what happened to them last year when they played in abysmal, and I say with all due respect to Atlanta United, an abysmal Atlanta United, and they lost in 3 games. They couldn't get out of a best-of-3 series. Being a historic team last year, the bookies' favorite, odds-on favorite to win, and again, here they are, MLS Cup favorites, and on the brink of another elimination. Now, I say brink because they gotta lose.
Yep.
They have to lose. We're gonna give Inter Miami the benefit of the doubt heading into their 3rd game. But is this really what you want if you're Inter Miami? A 3rd game with Messi, who's 38 years old, with Messi, who physically, you're asking him to go another 90 minutes to seal up this victory. You need to save as much as Messi as you can get. And in a game where you have to be smart, you can't play the same way you play at home as you play away, even if you have Messi, because teams are starting to figure you out. Hani Mukhtar comes to the center back's feet, picks the ball up, deep ball through to Serge, who makes a run. This is a guy who's over 6 foot. He's a big, lanky guy making that run, beating you in behind, draws a penalty kick, and now you're behind the 8 ball because your team is not built to chase, because your team is going to get stretched, and because teams are starting to figure you out. So it was brink of elimination last year, eliminated. Brink of elimination this year, they could be eliminated. We go back to the CONCACAF Champions Cup, disastrous eliminations. We go back to, what else do you want? Club World Cup, the way, granted it's PSG, but you've got to be smarter about how you go about certain games, and they've not been that. There have been some players on Inter Miami's roster, 11, who have not pulled their weight. It can't always be Messi.
Yeah.
Messi's been the best player, not only Inter Miami, but of the league. But you can't ask him to be the best player every single night at 38 years of age. If you're going to pay Rodrigo de Paul, all you're paying him. If he's going to go off and take off midweek to go visit his girlfriend in Argentina,
there it is.
You got to come up and you got to show out. You have to show out because he's been bad. He's been bad in that center of the midfield.
Yeah, so as far as Messi goes, I thought Messi was good, was what you'd expect from Messi. Obviously, the goal at the end, there was a chance in the first half that he missed, but there were some passes. We showed you the one in the highlight that almost ends up in a goal. Would have been like a hockey assist. But that pass that he hits to Alba, I mean, that's just vintage, beautiful Messi. And that's the type of play he makes once or twice a half, maybe 3 or 4 times a game. And that should be enough for most teams. The problem with this Inter Miami team, and I think you pointed out the first goal, that's the evidence right there. Yeah. They are incredibly vulnerable defensively. Hani Mukhtar is not somebody you don't scout. That's a league MVP. He picks up the ball and nobody steps to him. And the ball that he hits, Herc, and I know you'll appreciate this as a forward, is not a great ball. It's just that high line is so out of whack. There's so much space behind, and then we get to the goalie.
They are so slow.
Totally. But Rios Novo, to me, is another problem. If you're going to play the way Inter Miami play, you need a Ter Stegen type,
a sweeper keeper,
a stand-on-your-head guy who can bail you out of games. Inter Miami does not have that on their roster. And I look at this team, and I really start to worry because this game went the opposite of most Inter Miami scripts, where Inter Miami are the team that's usually kind of rope-a-doping the other team. The other team is not finishing, is maybe a little starstruck. They're not being as good as they should be. Inter Miami was wasteful here. And if Inter Miami's going to be wasteful in these playoffs, they are not going to advance simply because, Herc, they are not good enough defensively. They are so vulnerable. I know we've said it time and time before, but you look at that first goal, you cannot allow that to happen 5 minutes into a game like this.
That's the way you beat Inter Miami, and it's been like that for the longest time. And no matter the legs that they try to give Messi, the players they try to build around Messi, it's not enough. You've got a Luis Suarez who's very good in front of goal, who's very smart, how he interplays with Messi, how he links up in that final third. But when you have a Luis Suarez and when you have a Messi, you're asking why somebody like Hani Mukhtar can come off the center back's foot, pick it up, and nobody's pressing him because you don't have the type of player up top to press you. World football is a little different now. World football is everybody has to work. It's more vertical. It's more physical. This team is not vertical. This team is not physical. That said, they had plenty of chances in this game.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Allende is cleaner, more clinical, more intelligent in when he gets the ball, picking his head up. There was a play where he tries to have a go at it by himself. Messi afterwards looks at him and goes, "Hey, man, I'm right here."
Yeah.
It's a square ball you play to the greatest player that's ever played, and now the game's even. And now it's a different panorama. And now you give yourself an opportunity against a team that you've dominated historically. You have dominated Nashville historically. Well, BJ Callahan's Nashville, they understand that they have to be more physical. And that physicality doesn't just mean coming in and cleaning with tackles. That means also running your opponent into the ground, because they understand that this opponent can't keep up with them that way.
So we're looking at a Game 3 this Saturday in Fort Lauderdale, Inter Miami Nashville to move on. What do you think the fallout will be if Inter Miami is eliminated? Like, as we think about that potential blame game, because again, we're not there yet, where do you think the responsibility lies as we look at this Inter Miami team that right now, at least based on the game we just saw about Nashville, feels a little bit like it's disintegrating in midair at the most important time of the season?
You know, it's very easy to point the finger at the coach and Mascherano. You hire...
It's easy because it's obvious.
It is obvious, but what's he going to do? Not play Sergio Busquets? Not play Luis Suarez? Any coach in this position, for as experienced as you are, you're going to play the players that are around Messi, that were brought in to be around Messi.
Okay.
That's a reality.
What about
he doesn't have the luxury of having the goalkeeper you just asked about, or center backs who can play a high line with the ability of a little bit of athleticism, where if they get caught 1v1 situation, they can be bailed out of it with makeup speed. He doesn't have that luxury. I'm not blaming the format here, but this is blowing up in Major League Soccer's face. They would rather the gate of a best of three and I guess 3 games that are televised than reward the best team. This series would have been over if it was 1 game.
Last year's too.
It would have been over. And the biggest marquee player you have would have been on to the next round and less games under his belt. That's the way you reward a team. This best of 3, it gives opportunities to the weaker teams. It really does. It really does. And we're seeing this. We see the majority of teams who go out into, who advance into, I should say. It's not a lot. It's not many. More games go to 3. And in a league where I think home field advantage really matters, and world football home field advantage really matters, you have to reward these teams, not punish them.
I look at Mascherano, and for me, it's obvious. I get what you're saying. Like, there's some limitations that are beyond his pay grade as far as this roster is concerned.
Correct.
He didn't really do anything in terms of in-game changes in this matchup. And, you know, they go down early. There's a goal again just before the half. And I'm looking at that and I'm saying, all right, well, you got to go to your bench. Now, he did make a change at the half, and I think he made one like 10 minutes into the second half. He makes no other changes. Maybe they don't have the deepest bench, but that game was screaming for something. So I look at Mascherano and I say, all right, you're not really managing in-game. What was the big knock against Inter Miami last year? Their defense was terrible. Their defense got worse this year. I mean, somehow their defense got worse. So I wonder, in a situation where you're going to need your coach to push a button, unless Messi's just going to bail you out, and that's a possibility. That's a real possibility with this team for every game they're in. I just don't see him as the guy that's going to push the right buttons. And yeah, if this team goes out, we'll talk about Rodrigo de Paul and we'll talk about all those things. But at the end of the day, you've got to have somebody in that technical area that can get you over the hump.
Yeah.
And I have big doubts about Mascherano when it comes to knockout
We
football.
had big doubts about Tata Martino, and he's a very dominant coach in this league. We have doubts about Mascherano because of how he got the job. He has no experience. He was a failed U20 coach who didn't qualify for the World Cup and then went to the World Cup due to political reasons, and they still crashed out at a home World Cup. Same thing with the U23s at the Olympics. Mascherano has not had any evidence of a body of work that he could be the manager that certainly Inter Miami brass hoped he could be. So this isn't a surprise to me. We're watching him in that little press conference he did, and he's talking about, got to be a fish, be a fish. What is Ted Lasso?
It is remarkable to hear him kind of scrambling like that. Inter Miami Nashville, they will play on Saturday, Game 3 in Fort Lauderdale as Javier Mascherano, Lionel Messi and company look to move on. Speaking of Lionel Messi, that's exactly what our guy Cristiano Ronaldo has been doing of late. Let's check out this quote. This is in response to Wayne Rooney's comments where he said that, yeah, it was Messi and not his former teammate Cristiano Ronaldo that is the greatest of all time. Messi, better than me? I don't agree with that opinion. I don't want to be humble, says Cristiano Ronaldo. Herc, what do you make of these comments from CR7 as related to the ever-present debate between Messi and Ronaldo?
Zero issue with them.
Yeah.
Zero issue with
And
that.
probably zero surprise with him too, right?
Absolutely not surprised one bit. And I think the fact that it was Wayne Rooney who said this was what set him off a little bit even more, because this is supposed to be a player that's played with you, who's your teammate, and here he is saying that somebody who's never played with, who's only seen on TV, is better than him. I've got zero issue with this. I think when we talk about Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, this debate, which I love, is gustos. It's really a preference. Now, I'll explain. Somebody said, well, how can it be a preference? Look what Messi has done. 8 Ballon d'Or, World Cup champion, Copa America champion. If Cristiano Ronaldo and Portugal win this next World Cup, the debate is on again. You have a player who's won 5 Ballon d'Ors, who's going to win the World Cup, a European championship, who's going to be the all-time leading goal scorer in international football and world football, who's most likely going to get to 1,000 goals, the greatest goal scorer the sport has ever seen. Of course it's going to be back on. And rightfully so, and I go back to, there's no right or wrong answer here. I love the way Messi plays. Absolutely love it. That would be my pick. But I have no problem if somebody else says, well, I think Cristiano's better. And once all of us are gone, and only the history books are there, only the numbers are there, it's a very compelling case for Cristiano Ronaldo. It really is.
I think that's kind of the achievement, right? And I think, it's not a surprise that he says this, and I don't want people to hear that and think, oh, well, Sebi's like a Ronaldo hater. He's talking about his arrogance in a negative way.
Absolutely not.
I'm talking about it in a positive way. I think, that's what makes him different. It's what makes him great. If you interviewed, I don't know, 99.99% of footballers and you told them that, hey, man, Wayne Rooney said Lionel Messi's better than you, they would all say, yeah, no. And Ronaldo not only says that, he believes he's at least at Messi's level, if not better. You know that he believes it in his own head. And to your point, there's at least a statistical discussion to be had. And against the extraterrestrial numbers that Messi has put up, that's the achievement. That's really what is incredible about Cristiano Ronaldo. So I think anybody that's surprised by this or takes umbrage with it hasn't been paying attention to this back and forth over the years. And the ego, the willingness to say this is what makes Cristiano Ronaldo great. The other interesting thing about these two guys, and this was actually something producer Beto put in my ears, since they've gone to their respective kind of final acts, we'll call it that, Saudi Arabia and Major League Soccer, the trophies haven't exactly followed. I think Ronaldo has one kind of minor cup with Al Nassr. And, of course, Messi has the 2023 Leagues Cup, which I think we put into the minor category.
That's insane.
Right? You would have thought wherever they gone, these guys are surely going to not just win hardware, but keep winning it at the clip that they did elsewhere. And for some reason, in this era for them, it hasn't quite worked out.
It really is mind-boggling because you see what they've achieved in different types of levels, where it's much more difficult than where they are now, and you would assume that they would just follow naturally. That whatever team Messi was on would continue to win, and whatever team Cristiano was on would continue to win. But football isn't like that. It's not an individual sport. It's going to be very difficult. But I do find it hard to believe that both have lived the same fate. If I just may very briefly on Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi, we're very fortunate that we've seen these two in the same era. Because if we saw Cristiano Ronaldo in a different era with no Messi to take away 8 Ballon d'Ors, to take away Champions League, to take away whatever, and vice versa, we'd be comparing eras and throwing out statistics in the way we talked about Maradona and Messi, the way we talked about Pelé and Cristiano, that type of GOAT. But we got them in the same era, and I think they pushed each other.
Chicago Fire and Philadelphia Union. Philly, your Shield winners, they took game one in penalties. 8 minutes in here, and the Union going to go up 1-0. Ty Baribo taking advantage of the big mistake in the back.
Jeff Gall, the number 2 Chicago Fire, local kid. Chris Brady, unavailable, the starting goalkeeper, lower leg injury, and he makes a meal out of that one.
8 minutes later, Kai Wagner, the cross, Baribo again, 2-0 Philly.
Yeah, again, it comes off an initial throw-in, Seb. Throw-in for Philly, and unbelievable marking.
29th minute.
Penalty kick.
Off the corner kick. Jack Elliott there.
Yeah, he's
on the pen.
Ex-Philly.
Brian Gutierrez stepping up. Andre Blake stepping up more.
He's going to want that one back. Just, very easy for Andre Blake. And then,
Yep.
Oh, no.
Goals you don't score.
Oh,
something,
no.
something, something.
Oh,
Come back to haunt
no.
you. Shades of Casey Keller in World Cup qualifying back in 1997. Everybody remember
Did he
that?
do
Or
it
am I
twice?
just totally dating
Did
myself?
he do it twice?
Bruno Damiani there.
Jeff Gall again. So bad for the Chicago kid. I mean, it's not a kid. He's 32 years old, but
Things getting ugly here late in the game. Chicago fans frustrated. We hear the now infamous homophobic chants. And eventually the coach, Greg Berhalter, having to go over and basically plead with the fans to stop there. In the end, Philly wins 3-0. They eliminate Chicago. So the Fire go out in pretty ugly fashion there, Herc. What do you make of the scenes with Greg Berhalter and the fans in Chicago?
I don't understand it.
From who?
I don't understand it from the fans of Chicago. I understand the frustrations of Chicago. Finally getting back to the playoffs after I don't even know how many years. So many years. And on the brink of elimination in the game they had to win, their starting goalkeeper goes out injured. Backup has a shocker. They have a missed penalty kick, and then they have a goal called back. They're very frustrated. And their solution is to weaponize this homophobic chant in a way to get back at Philly, at the players, the Philadelphia players, or at what they're seeing. I don't understand what world they live in. They think because to them this isn't homophobic, it means it's not homophobic.
Yeah.
My world, not yours. I don't care what society says. And the worst part is you've got their head coach who's literally pleading with them, and they continue to weaponize it. I went back out of curiosity. Watch the highlights that Major League Soccer provides.
Did they put it up?
Major League Soccer did not put it up.
Of course.
And every play, because I know the minutes, they drowned out the part of their highlight where the chant was said. So not only do you have cowards in Chicago who weaponize this, you have cowards in MLS headquarters who want to act like it never happened.
Yeah, I mean, I hear that part of it, and I don't actually disagree with that might be the motivation for the MLS offices. I would also maybe see their perspective, which would be, well, let's not platform this anymore.
Oh,
let's not put this out anymore.
Let's not act like it didn't happen, though.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen some statements and stuff. I think, putting the video out is something
Do you
that
think it
from
was a relevant part of the game?
the stoppage. I mean, no, at that point the game was over.
No. Do you think
It's a relevant part of the story. I think that's why we're talking about it for sure. But I could see why, from an MLS standpoint, you just wouldn't want to put that up anymore because it is, at the end of the day, what you're talking about, offensive. I think I want to say the one thing here is I want to, because we don't do this often on the show, I want to applaud Greg Berhalter. We've had this conversation, some of the stuff you're saying, some of the stuff I'm probably about to say for 2, 3, 4 years on this show. It's very rare that we have seen a coach address it. It's even more rare that we have seen a coach address it in such a direct way in the middle of a, by the way, season-defining game, going over and basically pleading with the fans to stop. A guy who's trying to do it, and by the way, not his job, not Greg Berhalter's job. Of all the things he's got to worry about with Chicago and trying to rebuild that team, playoffs, dealing with the Shield winners in Philadelphia, not his job. That's stadium personnel, that's GM, that's somebody way higher than Greg Berhalter. So I want to applaud him for at least being the one who, as ridiculous as the image is, being willing to say, all right, like, I'll go out there, I'll be the face of trying to stop this thing. But at some point, you got to come down with a heavy hand. And, we talk about this a lot kind of off camera. Technology in this world is everywhere. They can tell us, where we're shopping, what we're doing. For a fact, they can ID the people that are doing this with this facial recognition technology. Put it to good use. Hand out some lifetime bans, and that'll be the thing that really sets in motion. Hey, if you're going to come in a stadium, whether you think it's okay or not, and you're going to break the rules, we're going to find you and we're going to kick you out. Otherwise, we're going to have this scene and we're going to have this stupid conversation on this desk until we're blue in the face until the end of time. You got to come with some serious sanctions. That's what I want to see from MLS. Use all that tech, find who these people are, put them on a list, and get them out of stadiums so we can finish games.
It's just embarrassing. It really is. And there are those who would say this is this is a Mexico problem, a Liga MX problem. No, this is in MLS as well. This isn't the first time we've seen this in MLS. And MLS, every single supporters group they have registries. They know who these people are. They know where they work. They know how many times they are in their stadium. We live in a world where you do something, it's going to be caught on camera.
Exactly.
It's going to be caught on camera.
Yeah.
And it's, for the life of me, I don't understand those who want to go about their own world as it doesn't affect me.
Yeah.
So screw this person.
Yeah, and I think the bottom line is that whatever you think, you're in somebody else's house when you're in somebody else's stadium. You got to follow their rules. One thing I'll say about this, quite a chippy series here. I like the potential rivalry. Did you hear the Chicago radio broadcast?
I did. He was blaming the Philly players for it.
I love a little local broadcast bias. You know, that's what the home fans want to hear. Do you have any problem with it?
I do have a problem. Yeah.
There we go.
I mean, I'm not going to blame the Philly players for homophobic chants being, drawn out.
No, I guess that's not what I was alluding to from the
I understand.
Chicago
I understand
broadcast.
what
They were having fun. They were kind of having a go at the way Philly plays and kind of dogging it a little bit. But anyway, I can't wait for the first Chicago-Philly matchup of next year. I'm sure they won't be talking about that on the next edition of ESPN FC, which of course is available for you 7 days a week right here on ESPN Plus. Don't miss a single show with Dan, Kay, Alexis, and the rest of the crew. Let's talk some international football. Carlo Ancelotti has named his 26-man squad for Brazil's upcoming friendlies, and those hoping to see Neymar are going to have to keep on holding their breath. The 33-year-old was left out of Ancelotti's team again, despite the fact that he did play this weekend after a long injury layoff. That, of course, with his club team, Santos. What did the new Brazilian manager have to say about it? Let's see the quote here from Ancelotti. Quote, "I haven't spoken to Neymar. We will see when he can fully recover and play again," end quote. Herc, I would say not looking good here for Neymar when we project ahead to the 2026 World Cup. What say you?
He's going to be 34 years old in February. Mm-hmm. He's a player that's been oft injured since he tore his ACL with lingering injuries that happen after a knee injury, muscular injuries. October friendlies came about. Mm-hmm. Carlo Ancelotti said, we don't need to test Neymar. We know who he is. He just needs to prove that he is fit. Oh, he's proven that he's fit.
Sort of. I mean, he literally just came back.
No, but he's not here. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So if he's fit enough to be back and he's not there, it's just not in Ancelotti's plans.
Right.
There's not going to be a magical moment where he plays 0 minutes, 0 camps leading up to the World Cup and he makes the World Cup team. That's not really how it works. Not for most. He has the benefit of the doubt because he's Neymar, but certainly you see a young core of promising attacking players, Brazilian players, and Carlo Ancelotti's like, maybe I need to ride this wave. I don't think Carlo Ancelotti sees Neymar right now as a productive player on the team. Now, productive can mean many things, not just on the field, but off the field. How productive, how beneficial can you be to the group? And right now, he doesn't think that Neymar would be beneficial because my argument would be, I don't see a lot of creative players on this roster. And Neymar at 85%, 80% is a lot better than a lot of what you have. And he's a leader on the field, and he's so respected. I think my issue, or I think Carlo Ancelotti's issue, is that these players will follow Neymar.
Maybe not in the right way.
But where will they follow?
Yeah, it's interesting. I hear you say that 85% of Neymar. You're definitely talking like 5 years ago Neymar at this point, right? I mean, he hasn't played for Brazil in 2 years. So when you say 85% of Neymar, not present-day Neymar, we're talking 85% of what we remember of Neymar with PSG and maybe the back end of his run with Brazil leading up to the 2022
I don't think so.
World Cup.
22 World Cup. If he's not injured against Croatia, they win that game.
Dude, that's 3 years ago.
Yeah, well, you said 5. But what I'm saying is, like, I understand where you go. I think it's just since the knee injury. That he's always had that flair. He's always had that talent about him.
Yeah.
But the only reason I'm even bringing Neymar into the equation is because I see the player pool.
Yeah.
And it's
you see what Brazil is. You see in the games.
Yes.
You see the fact they had to fire their coach and bring in Ancelotti. This is not the Brazil we know.
No.
If there was ever a Brazil where a somewhat over the hill but still with some level of talent and quality Neymar could help, this would be it. The fact that Ancelotti's saying, like, I'd rather kick the tires on Vitor Roque than on this guy, I think tells you everything you need to know. And at this point,
That's the one name that I saw that I was like, interesting.
Right. If you look at the schedule, right, and you just think about time and everything.
7 months away.
Yeah, and the next call-up is what, March?
Yeah.
So, like, if anything now, he's going to have to get in March, win the spot in, like, a 2-month window, all assuming, by the way, that he's got to get fit and stay fit with Santos. It's so many ifs at this point. I would put the odds of Neymar playing in the World Cup right now at less than 10%.
I'll take those
Is that
odds.
too low?
No,
Less?
I don't think so.
You think it's less than 10%?
No. I think it's around there. But what I will say is, like, it wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world to see Neymar be on that World Cup squad.
If he's there, it's a sign of desperation. Unless,
I think that's where Brazil is.
Yeah, unless there's maybe 2 months of amazing play for Santos and that we can't really.
Well, see, they have Senegal and Tunisia, two teams that have already qualified for the World Cup in these friendlies. Let's see what they look like against World Cup competition. And if things go very awry for Carlo Ancelotti, I could see him being in one of those desperate situations.
Nosotros asignamos los lanzadores y es Kylian el primer lanzador. Luego toman decisiones. Me gusta que marquen los penaltis. Yo para esos sabemos que es una oportunidad buena y hoy el primero lo ha marcado Kylian y luego el segundo me hubiese gustado poder marcarlo también, pero no hay gran tema. Siempre, o sea, sigue siendo Kylian el primer lanzador.
All right, Herc, your thoughts on the latest bit of Vinny drama?
What's the issue?
The penalties, I guess. The fact that guys are going out of their way to try and give him an opportunity.
So I see a good teammate in Kylian Mbappé that knows to get the best out of Real Madrid. You need to get the best out of Vinny Jr. And Vinny needs a goal. And a penalty kick would be a very good opportunity to score a goal. And Kylian had just scored one. Not the first time he's done this. He did this, I want to say, a month ago with Vinny Jr. Gives him the penalty kick. Vinny Jr. scores the penalty kick. They asked Xabi Alonso, and that seems to be the press's favorite talking point with Xabi Alonso, Vinny Jr.
Yeah, it's hot right now.
It's hot. His thoughts on that. He says, hey, Kylian's the first taker, and after that, they make their decisions. He said, no es gran tema. It isn't a big deal. There was a situation years ago where Xabi Alonso ripped the ball away from Cristiano Ronaldo's hands after pleading with them for a couple of minutes to take a penalty, one of his last games with Real Madrid. Cristiano didn't want it, and he still took the penalty. But it's adding on to that already, I guess, big drama that they had over the week.
So I feel like if you go back to El Clásico, Xabi Alonso right here is doing everything possible to avoid a feud. Maybe almost too much, right? Like, I don't want to punish him. I'm starting him in the next game. Now he gets to take this penalty, and I'm not going to make a deal out of it. And Vinny, with obviously what he did in El Clásico, but then we saw the apology and everything, it's like he's doing everything possible to find a confrontation with the manager. And I just wonder kind of, what's the end game here for Vinny?
Yeah.
Like, is it just a hothead player that can't control his emotions, or does he genuinely want out? Because he's so far off the player, even in the Clásico where he was good. Like, I think he was good for the 75 minutes.
Very good.
But he's so far off the player that was legit Ballon d'Or.
Yes, but he's better
12
than the
months
player
ago,
that was
18
last
months
year.
ago. Okay.
And
he's better this year than last year.
Yeah, already way better. And I can't fault Xabi Alonso for one thing. I think he's handled everything ridiculously well.
Really?
Ridiculously well.
You don't think this will come back where some other player will say, well, if Vinny can do that to the manager, I can do that to the manager?
Well, he has the Endrick situation, Rodrigo situation, he's got the Vinny situation, Valverde situation, and I think he's handled, and even Mbappe himself, every single thing the right way. He's pressed every button the right way. So I will continue to give Xabi Alonso the benefit of the doubt. I will continue to give this guy who was coached by Pep Guardiola, Carlo Ancelotti, by Jose Mourinho, Rafa Benitez, by some of the best coaches in the world, the benefit of the doubt until he gives me a reason not to. As of right now, whatever he's doing with Real Madrid is working. And he seems to be putting out the fires before they start. As for Vinny, well, Vinny's got a lot of growing up to do. Absolutely. Absolutely. But I don't think that's on Xabi.
Their manager, Oliver Glasner, not very happy with the U.S. men's national team coaching staff and their handling of Richards during the October window. Worth noting, Richards did play the full 90 versus both Ecuador and Australia. Here's what Glasner had to say, quote, "My only complaint is the U.S. team didn't talk to us because Chris was struggling with his calf for many weeks. We talked to them and said he should rest as they were just friendlies. but they played him twice, every single minute. That's a little bit disappointing. Glasner apparently not done. On the other side, we've tried to manage his minutes here. Chris's body told him he needs more rest. He says he's fine. The medical department says he's fine, end quote. What do you make here of the one complaint heard from Oliver Glasner?
I have so many different ways I can go with this. I want to go with this. Mauricio Pochettino and the U.S. men's national team coaching crew have a communication problem? Is that what you're telling me? Though I will defend him on this one. I will defend him on this one. They're not meaningless friendlies.
Totally.
They're preparing for a World Cup on home soil. It's not a meaningless friendly. They don't have any actual competition, World Cup qualifying.
These would be the qualifiers in theory.
So it's not a meaningless friendly. And it was against top competition for them. So they got something out of it. Chris Richards will be a big part of that. Glasner has every right, to be worried about Chris Richards and the games he's played. And it's not the U.S. men's national team's fault that Crystal Palace, in 13 days, played 5 games. It's not their fault that Crystal Palace has Conference League, Premier League, EFL, that they're going to have FA Cup. They're going to have all these different things with international fixtures. This is world football. Yep. It's not the first team or player that has issues, club and national team. At the highest of levels, we see it. Lamine Yamal. We see it with Barcelona and the Spanish national team. Chris Richards is a massive part of Crystal Palace and a massive part of the U.S. men's national team. And I understand Glasner. They're, 9th right now in the standings? 2 points away from 3rd. That's how tight the Premier League is. So I understand his worry for his player. And the worry should always be with the player's safety, their well-being. And that is being jeopardized. But it's not by the U.S. men's national team. It's not by the U.S. men's national team. It's by you. It's by the amount of games you play.
Yeah,
it's by the amount of competitions you are in. So it would be very easy for me to take a shot right now at the U.S. men's national team about, well, the player, this and that. They are worried, as they should be, about the World Cup. As you should be worried, as you should be, about your competitions. This is more on the player. This is more on the calendar congestion than anything else.
Yeah, I feel like this is par for the course nowadays. Like Oliver Glasner's not the first club coach to complain. He's not the last club coach to complain. This is the reality when you've got a million tournaments, a congested schedule. In England, they throw in the Carabao Cup on top of everything as well, so they got even more competitions. Again, I hear it, but don't be complaining to the U.S. men's national team, which, by the way, has a World Cup coming up and gets maybe, 10, 15% of this guy's time. I also think it's a little bit ridiculous. We've criticized Pochettino before. If ever there's been an international manager who's been almost too respectful of the club game, I would say it's been Pochettino. Look at everything he's done with Christian Pulisic. We hear he's not coming for the November window. Obviously, he didn't come for the Gold Cup. Remember, he let Pulisic leave halfway through the window when USA and Mexico were going to play in Guadalajara. So Mauricio Pochettino has been very, very respectful of the club game. I don't really get this from the Crystal Palace perspective. And by the way, if you're Pochettino, when are you supposed to start building for the World Cup? We're here once every couple months screaming, hey, we don't want any more speculation. We don't want to see any more kicking the tires on random MLS players. Start building the team. Well, guess who's super freaking important to that? The guy who's going to be probably the center of your back three, Chris Richards. You're building your defense around this guy. You do need him. And when you get some decent competition like they got in the last window, you do need to play him for 90 minutes. So I have no problem with Pochettino playing him for 180 minutes in this window. And I got no sympathy for Glasner here. I don't know really what Crystal Palace is complaining about. You gotta let international football have the little bit of space that it needs, especially when we're less than 12 months from a World Cup. I don't get what these club coaches, they want it all. They want absolutely everything.
His gripe isn't with the U.S. men's national team or Mauricio Pochettino. It should be with his FA. It should be with the calendar, FIFA,
with UEFA, with FIFA, with everything. Allowing this. The Players Union.
It's not on Mauricio Pochettino. And you're right. Mauricio Pochettino, let's say it wasn't Mauricio Pochettino, a coach who was more firmly in control of his future. Let's say it was a coach who absolutely needed results. I think the coach is going to say, oh, yeah, you want me to rest one of my best players so you can be good? Yeah, okay, buddy.
All right. Big news, Herc, for USL. The league has hired Premier League Chief Football Officer Tony Scholes to lead the USL's new Division I league, which is likely to begin in 2028. Scholes will begin his new role in the summer of 2026 after finishing up the current season with the Premier League. Herc, on paper, I don't know, this feels kind of significant. What do you think? Is it something, nothing, or everything, this new hire for the USL?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, don't be too excited about it.
Well, because I know where we're going to go with this, and it's...
Oh, where are you going to go with it?
It's definitely something.
Okay.
Let me tell you why I think it's something of what actually will happen.
Okay.
I think Tony Scholes being part of player development like he was in the Premier League is going to be massive for USL. And that's going to be really where they hit it out of the park with this figure. That's where I think they will grow. That's where I think they will take command of their own markets.
Okay.
And they will be a player in the US market. I really do feel that. You can get around things like that there. But if we think that Tony Scholes is going to come into North America, where Major League Soccer already is, forget how you feel about Major League Soccer. That's a topic that's a different conversation. And
well-established,
if you
clear
want
number one league in the United States.
If you want that combo, I'll have that combo with you. But
there's no debating. It is the incumbent king of American men's soccer.
it's top first division soccer. Whether you like it or not, whether they like it or not, it's what it is. So what you're having is promotion relegation with the lower divisions, who are family owned. What you're having is pretty much your own game here, while something else in major markets is being played up here. I don't know if that's going to be viable.
So we don't know that that's the case because we don't know what this new Division One is going to look like. Maybe it will also be in big markets, right? I don't think you think they're going to start a Division One league and have the biggest market.
You tell San Diego Loyal
Toledo,
that they're going to
Ohio.
be competing with San Diego FC. And that's the problem here.
San Diego Loyal had the chance to compete with San Diego FC and packed up shop and shut it down.
Because
right?
they couldn't.
Yeah.
And I love USL.
Yeah.
I am for these type of stories. But if you're asking whether I think promotion relegation is going to work, if they're both first division, and I see one that's got its massive stadiums, sponsors, already in major cities, and another one that is trying to do the right thing. Because I do feel it is the right thing. But if you're asking me if I think it's going to survive in the way that other leagues survive, I don't think so. Or strive in the way that other leagues strive, that's not where I'm going to go here. I think it's a very interesting concept that maybe Major League Soccer can use as a proof of concept if and when something happens. But I think the most significant part of this signing is the player development.
Yeah.
That's where I think it'll take off for them.
I mean, if I had to kind of lean one way, I would go everything here. And to your point about the player development, I agree with you there. One, I'm very excited because this guy's a soccer guy, right? Just straight up, if you look at his background. And a lot of times, and obviously he's not maybe the top guy in USL. There are other big business decision makers, but a lot of times you'll see people get hired for important positions in a league like Major League Soccer or NWSL, American soccer leagues, and their resumes are like sports business resumes. They're not soccer resumes. So
He's a soccer guy.
From that perspective, I think it's everything. And the reason that I think it's everything is, let's be honest about what USL is, right? Because we have conversations all the time, like where is MLS in the global ranking of leagues? And we settle maybe around 20 or 25. Well, if MLS is 20 or 25, what is USL then? Somewhere between 40 and 50, maybe, if we're being honest? That's just a ballpark. But let's say they're somewhere between 40 and 50. So you're the 40 or 50th biggest brand in the professional soccer space, and you just went out and you got the number one guy at the number one brand. That is a statement. That is a statement to me. One, that you had the ambition to go get that guy, and two, that guy looked at your project and said it's worth leaving this job, the chief football officer job at the best football league in the world. That is very intriguing to me. And I do think that a hire like this is going to have big impact. Not necessarily in a like soccer wars, USL is going to overtake MLS. But you put somebody like this in charge of a Division One, because that's another part of this super ambitious plan, right? You have these three tiers. Eventually you go to promotion relegation. You're going to push Major League Soccer. And you and I talk about this a lot. We are frustrated often with MLS. Messi talks about it a lot. When there is no competition, when there is nobody from the outside pushing you, why do away with the salary cap? Why loosen the purse strings? Well, you don't have to. Something like this may down the road force MLS to be a little bit more aggressive. And I think if they are, that's going to be good for all of us.
That's what I said, proof of concept, excuse me. I just don't see, I see the discourse online, I see the discourse from people who work in what we do. It's not, there's pro rel now, you're going to show Major League Soccer and you're going to take over type of deal. In world football, money rules.
Yeah.
And when you're dealing with franchises, the ballpark of $500 million, their own stadiums, city funding, to have players worth $30 million, that's still going to reign supreme here. And that's where I think USL is going to suffer. But player development is where I think they can actually take over Major League Soccer because they don't have to play to Major League Soccer's territories.